Now, when it will start in what appears like a drama, a 42-year-old mother of 6 who was tricked into thinking she had been married off to former President Muhammadu Buhari has broken her silence. She has shared with NTA Newsline how her son-in-law, Gambo Adamu, deceived and defrauded her to the tune of more than 5 million naira in an NGO scam and fake marriage in Minna, the Niger state capital. Mukhtar Wowo, who investigated the matter, reports that his son-in-law has been convicted by a magistrate court in Tunga, Minna.
Was among the successful food vendors at the Kure Ultramodern Market Minna before meeting the scammer son-in-law in 2017. She alleged that the relationship led her to selling the shop allocation and a plot of land in Minna, among other assets, making it difficult for her to operate another rented restaurant. While narrating her ordeal, the victim said the scammer, who proposed and later married her daughter, took advantage of the relationship and deceived her into establishing an NGO, which made her the sponsor and chief executive. She alleged that he made her acquire office accommodation, which she furnished with equipment. She further narrated that she sponsored series of his claimed meetings, workshops, and seminars across the country, including the one attended by the former President Muhammadu Buhari, from where he alleged that the former president, the former Kebbi State Governor, Atiku Bagudu, and another foreign national separately indicated interest to take her in as a wife, having seen the video clips of their meetings. The victim said it took the intervention of the scammer's wife, who is her daughter, to be convinced and choose the former president. She also said that the convicted son-in-law told her that marriage was conducted between her and the former president in Abuja.
He told me that one Hadi Sirika represented former President Muhammad Buhari at the wedding fatia and warned me not to tell anybody while subjecting me to medical examinations and spiritual deals preparatory to my movement to the State House. He even brought me a t-shirt from the former president that after I used it, I should wash and give him some of the wastewater.
The deceived bride said she became suspicious after several requests to see her groom failed.
He made my client to go and rent an apartment, 3-bedroom flats. She furnished the house. So they now scheduled a particular day and night. My client went there as a wife, waiting for Baba Buhari to come. He now connived with his wife, because at that time, his wife also was together with the defendant against her own biological mother.
She added that having demanded a refund of all the money she spent in the saga, he reported the matter to the police, where after investigation, he turned out to be the accused and was convicted and sentenced to 12 months in the correctional center by the Senior Magistrate Court 5 Chanchaga, Tunga, Minna.
With fine of 100,000 naira and also the compensation of 2 million naira.
What appeared to be the little gain for the victim on the whole was her later marriage to the driver employed by the convicted son-in-law. She is, however, soliciting help from the governments and well-meaning individuals to assist her with funds to enable her resume her business.
I think we should be very smart when we're dealing with some of these people. Well, I don't blame her when her daughter is involved, because if you come to tell me that you're arranging a marriage between me and the president, I will even start laughing at you, because it will be funny. Now to some outstanding women. In Kano, the ancient and bubbling city of commerce, water vendors occupy an integral part of the chain of supply and distribution of water to a significant number of households. All over the north, this is one job believed to be an exclusive reserve of the male folks. Shocked to find a woman in this line of business, Fatima Sanusi Karaye is set to tell us the hidden fire beneath the smoke, as the old saying goes.
Water vending, known in the local phraseology as Megarua, is a job that is traditionally defined 100% male's job, physical strength necessary, so also resilience of the heart. These vendors have become not only constant suppliers of water for daily activities and consumption, but also for their survival. For these water supply merchants, their stories are uniquely tied to subsistence. Take the story of Gambo and Fatima, for instance. Their husbands are absent in their lives. Both, however, have a burning desire to ensure that their children go to school. For Gambo, a mother of 6, she started pushing water cart when her husband died about 6 years ago.
Whatever I am doing, I am thinking of my children, how I will send them to school and what I will give them to eat. That is why I started doing this job.
But after her story went viral on social media and other platforms, help came pouring down from good-meaning Nigerians. Today, Gambo owns a house, gadgets to start other petty businesses, and many reaching out to offer help where they can. On her part, growing up, Fatima had a bright future. She dreamed to be a nurse, but destiny had it differently when her father married her off to a husband that denied her the opportunity to work or continue her education.
This is why life has taken me to.
Her dreams aborted. Her husband left when she was pregnant with her 8th child. Fatima said with 7 children, she did not know where to start from, adding that she lost her credentials when her father's house was burnt down to ashes during a crisis in Jos. Hence, getting a job is out of the question. She opted to become a water vendor.
She's a hardworking woman. She's taking care of her children.
I have never seen a woman so strong and resilient. She can even push a cart with 18 jerry cans just like men. She's always helping others that have no money to pay for the water.
Many water vendors who spoke to NTA said although this is a means of livelihood for many, people see it as an undignified job. They lamented that despite the important role they play in providing one of the most sought after necessities of life, the society treats them as nuisance. As this community is still asleep, Fatima is already out on her routine, distributing water to her customers. She said no matter how bad people perceive this job, she will continue to be a water vendor, so long as she has bills to pay and mouths to feed.
Inspiring woman. Pushing 18 jerry cans, she deserves commendation and needs to be supported. She needs to do it in a better way. Now call it a photo splash of some sort and you won't be wrong. Oh yes, the picture of a woman on social media who claimed to have given birth to 9 babies on the same day at a general hospital in Oron local government area of Akwa Ibom State. This spectacular birth, which generated reactions from the general public, informed NTA's report. NTA going to that location to see for ourselves and also find out what happened there. So over to Nsikak Okon for her findings.
This is Equita General Hospital in Oron local government area of Akwa Ibom State, where a woman claimed she put to birth 9 babies, though management of the hospital have refused to comment on camera. They wondered why a woman would lie to the world that she gave birth to 9 babies in this hospital. Some officials of the hospital who spoke off camera say there was no incident of that nature, but referred NTA News crew to the Akwa Ibom State Ministry of Health for an official statement from the commissioner. So the trip to Equita Hospital over, we deem it fit to feel the pulse of Oron residents about the birth of the 9 babies.
If such thing happen, I think since I'm doing business opposite the hospital, we shall be able to know. So I've not heard of such news. Maybe it's fake news.
I've not heard about it and I am not aware of it.
I don't know when that thing happened. I've been here for a while now, let's say from June, the month of June, till date. And I'm working opposite the hospital. I've not heard people talking about that, either directly or indirectly.
I live opposite this hospital and I am from this town, yet I have not heard about it. That type of thing cannot happen here and we will not hear about it.
With the Oron trip over, the crew later visited Ministry of Health in Uyo and the commissioner was reported to be absent at the time of our visit. All efforts several times after to reach the permanent secretary, Akwa Ibom State Hospital Management Board on the matter have not been successful.
We are on the story, and you know there's a lot on the social media. Now, when Igbos declare that he who brings kola brings life, you may think that's the end of the discussion as far as kola nut is concerned, right? Let's move to the north, and you'll find out that kola nut is indeed a matter of life and death. There, it is used for ceremonies to welcome a child to the world and for farewell rites. Marajanto Hassan in Maiduguri filed this report on a special status of kola nut called guru in the local parlance.
Hausari Zango Ngongoro is one of the oldest settlements in Maiduguri, very popular for kola nut business. Back then, this neighborhood served as a rendezvous point for travelers from southern and other parts of northern Nigeria and route Saudi Arabia through Sudan by road. The booming business of kola nut, which begins here early in the morning, has been the tradition for over 300 years. 5-year-old Malan Suleiman Modu has lived all his life in the business, having inherited it from his father.
This shop has been a kola nut depot for over 200 years and have served as a source of livelihood to my family and many others.
It's one business that has been bailing out many, putting food on the table.
I put more effort there, let's say like maybe weekends. Because like I usually go to school from, let's say, Monday to Friday, I have lectures, and then at times if I have, like, let's say if I'm less busy, then I'll come to my business center.
They include not only the sailors, but the labor force involved in uploading the commodity, which they often do before or after school.
We make 2,000 naira 2 or 3 times every week by uploading the product.
These women have come a long way in their kola nut business.
I came all the way from Owerri to Maiduguri for kola nut business, and I'm making a lot of money from it.
One basket, 120, but now I sell you 9,000, 10,000, 8,000.
Kola nut is accorded special regards by many people as it is used for different purposes among various ethnic groups. Variety of shape and color matter as they define prices. The Daushe type is the most expensive as a piece is sold between 300 to 500 naira. Other varieties are the Namijin Goro and Sabon Goro. According to the chairman kola nut business, Borno State, Aminu Musa, they are employees of labor as they engage and train thousands of youths despite the challenges of insurgency to become self-sufficient.
The association support and engage many youths to key into the business for sustainable livelihood.
Some dealers and sellers say they are still proud of the business, which is part of their destiny.
Best way to describe kola nut: small, significant, and mighty. Time for some messages. Newsline will continue shortly. Don't go away. Don't go away. Welcome back. Now, children, no doubt, always show passion about learning, particularly where there are reasonable teaching aids and infrastructure to make learning less tedious and achievable. How would you feel when you see a viral video revealing a poor environment where pupils are struggling to learn? Where is this school located? What are the hopes for the pupils? If you started the program, you get an idea of where it is located because I gave a hint. But for more, over to Anwili Okulu.
It sounds absurd when a video revealing a poor learning environment characterized by the absence of desks for pupils and of course the teachers went viral, which prompted NTA crew to trace the location of the school to affirm or otherwise the claim. This is Aburu Primary School at Ewacho, East and Southeast Local Government Area of Edo State, where pupils are allegedly sitting on the bare floor to learn. The 68-year-old school is dilapidated and lacks school furniture for pupils to occupy. Teachers who are allegedly engaged by the community to teach the pupils declined comments on the situation, but disclosed to NTA that the school has been temporarily closed while the pupils are now on mandatory holiday, pending the time the school will be reopened.
There are no chairs at all, no qualified teachers. The only teacher that are there are community teachers. We, the people in this community, contribute 500 naira every month to pay them.
Ordinary to buy chemical 2,000, give person for a day job to spray to make the environment neat and as well. They will not use.
Apart from the fact that pupils are learning under poor conditions, teaching in such an environment is not easy, if not impossible.
People came in, made away with those chairs because the chairs that were there was provided by our state governor. They have iron legs, and I got to find out that people destroyed the wooden tables on it and took the irons and sell to these public persons who buy irons from them.
It's unfortunate that we had such situations where school children were in an environment that were not as conducive as we would wish. But I want to assure the public out there that those two cases are the exceptions. They are not the norm. And since we've become aware of them, actions have been taken immediately to rectify it.
Stakeholders are calling on state governments to intervene in no distant future by rehabilitating the dilapidated school building with furniture and also take steps to relocate the pupils to a nearby school pending the time the rehabilitation work will complete.
Very embarrassing and a shame, and I'm glad she said they're doing something about it. We will follow up on that story. Now, thousands of widows and other less privileged people have benefited from food palliative assistance under the Abdul Samad Rabiu Foundation, supported by I Care Women and Youth Foundation. Haruna Mohammed was there and reports that the gesture is in line with President Tinubu's call on well-to-do individuals to contribute to the welfare of others and to nation building.
From small to the big picture, they are considered widows and less privileged persons in the society, up for the distribution of food items and palliatives to ameliorate their food sufficiency under the Abdul Samad Rabiu Foundation, supported by I Care Women and Youth Foundation.
Time around, the food items are being taken into the communities and handed to the beneficiaries hand to hand.
Little wonder how far one can go to provide succor. From Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, and Sokoto, they distribute the food items to the less privileged. 75-year-old Lami Adamu, Shafiu Sani, Bello Umar, and Nazifi are fiscally challenged among beneficiaries of the palliative.
What he has done to us, I know God will reward it to him in 100-fold in Jesus' name.
If we can have some other philanthropists that can do this way, I think it will go a long way, sincerely. And this is not just about politics. They are doing it freely to bless humanity.
According to Awal Shuaibu, the coordinator of the program, the gesture is geared towards alleviating the hardship being faced by citizens.
Please, they should imbibe this habit, feeding the poor. It will go a long way in reducing
the suffering of the people, the masses in Kaduna State. Not even Kaduna State, in Nigeria at large. There are a lot of people that can do more than this.
It was jubilation galore as they expressed their unflinching gratitude to Abdul Samad Rabiu Foundation.
Good way to be a brother's keepers. Thanks for being there. Have you ever ventured down a road so dangerous that your heart raced with every passing second? Well, there's a road like that in Kogi State, and our correspondent Jonathan Omajale is set to give us his first-hand experience on the road, and he'll shed more light on the plight of the communities living along the road.
Iluke Akutukpa Abuja Road is a death trap. A path not meant for the faint-hearted. Even the strongest of cars bleed on the road, and it takes some driving dexterity to climb the much-dreaded Okegiro Hill. There are several harrowing stories of deaths on the road, and they are not tales by moonlight.
This road, they call it Okegiro. Are you getting me? And after this place, then you move to all the way to White Okiri, and what Akutukpa other side. That is what we call this area. As you can see, the road is not quite alright. So that is one of the problems that we have here.
Often, travelers alight and push their vehicles to ascend the hill or the rough parts. And during rainy season, when the road is in its worst state, it takes the help of youths in the communities to rescue helpless drivers stuck in the mud. During the last general elections, INEC officials and journalists, including me, waited till the dead of the night before the returning officers from those areas came with their results. They were like men from war zones, with some vowing never to return to those areas for electoral duties because of the risk on the roads.
Anyone is telling me that this is how the place looks like, I won't believe it.
As far as Bono district is concerned, the bulk of election normally come from this axis. This is Kri axis of Bono district. And we have been giving government in power our vote for so many years. But unfortunately, we don't feel their impact. You can see the road terrain yourself.
Agriculture is the major business of the people, but the road remains a perennial hurdle.
That to Suku and Aitoro Kiri, that to Kupa, that's Abugi, is a federal project.
Problem has been budgetary provisions for the road by successive government, has not met up with what is really needed to complete the road. But we are working very hard behind the scene in this budget cycle to ensure that reasonable funds is voted for the road.
Urgent intervention is needed. It's really, some things are really embarrassing and very unsafe. When natural impediment takes place, it is perceived as momentary. But when it's unusual and lingers on, it becomes a nightmare. That is the situation facing about 13 communities along the 9th mile area of the old road, the only gateway from the north to the east and to the southwest of Nigeria. Chiagonu Aro, who visited the uncommon site, will fill us in.
It has become a lingering nightmare to communities residing along the old federal highway from 9th mile to Nsuka in Enugu State, as travelers and heavily loaded lorries take over the road on both sides in an unending gridlock, leaving the communities in utter hopelessness. Social life and economic activities have come to an end as residents have no access to their markets, children no longer go to school, and just as Christians no longer find routes to their churches on Sundays.
See, if you go out there, you see the line of trailers from OP Junction to 9th Mile. There's no road for us. We cannot even go to church. We can't go to school unless you are trekking it.
People carry most of these perishable goods from the north. We don't produce enough. We don't even produce at all. So by the time they come, and then you stay 1 week or 2 weeks, those goods must have perished. And this runs into millions and millions of naira.
And this is a trunk A road, which connects most communities along this axis. It's quite unfortunate, but we still have a new confidence.
Trailer drivers, on their part, bemoan their untold experiences as they are trapped in an unending gridlock without food and shelter for days running into weeks.
How many days were you here now? I did like 2 weeks.
Oh, so where are you going to?
On Port Harcourt.
Residents appealed to relevant authorities for urgent intervention as life has dwindled into a daylight robbery of their livelihood. It is worthy of note that these two highways are gateways from the east to the north and south. It is therefore expected that when they are fixed, socio-economic activities will be restored and revenue generation enhanced.
Something needs to be done about the situation there, and immediately. Let's take our last round of commercials. Newsline will be right back. Welcome back. Sometimes the outskirts of a city has the appearance of typical rural community. In Bauchi State, for instance, many in such areas are describing their living conditions as deplorable, as access to basic amenities is absent. And they are worried more about this, not just for their challenge that they have, but the fact that the proximity of their communities to the state capital is not giving them any extra benefit. Bulak Afsa has visited some of these outskirts and has her observation.
Urban area, which is also known as a city, is characterized with the availability of basic social amenities like roads, electricity, and portable drinking water, amongst others. Absence of these basic needs in Rafinzurfi, Kagadama new layouts, and Ungon Selama in Yelwa areas of Bauchi metropolitan city has brought about an untold hardship to residents who said their feelings are as that of the dark age. With just about 10 to 12 kilometers drive from Bauchi state capital, the residents of Rafinzurfi by Bishu Road said they have been in darkness without electricity for over 2 months now, and even before then, their power supply has been epileptic.
There has been no light in this area. We hardly have any light at all for 3 days. Every time the transformer has issues. It's a very big settlement. It's a new settlement without any government presence inside here.
This has taken its worst turn in the last 8 weeks, where you can't even keep anything refrigerated for even for a day because the light went off.
We have been suffering everywhere, galloping, swamping. We need the government to intervene to help us do the roads.
The story is the same in all other outskirts on the lack of electricity supply. For almost 8 years, this area have been on load shedding, and recently the transformer serving the communities was packed up.
We are equally appealing. We are still part of them. We vote for them. So we are expecting them to visit us and then look at us and still pay us so that we have the dividend of democracy.
The situation is exactly as that of murmuring of many voices and pressing on of many footsteps which are on course within the outskirts.
And we are on that story. We will give you updates because we are monitoring. Our next report is about one of Nigeria's monuments inaugurated more than 50 years ago in Lagos. Although time and age have not been fair to this sports edifice, there seems to be light at the end of the tunnel. Kehinde Lamidi will tell us how and why.
The National Stadium in Surulere, Lagos, fitted with an Olympic-sized swimming pool and a multi-purpose field for other sports, was inaugurated in 1972 by the then head of state, General Yakubu Gowon. The purpose was to develop sports in Nigeria and host national and international sporting activities. 2 years later, the over 50,000 capacity iconic edifice hosted the 1933 All-African Games, and in 1980, Nigeria lifted our first African Cup of Nations title at the same stadium. The FIFA World Youth Championship in 1999 and the African Cup of Nations in the year 2000 were held at the National Stadium, Surulere, Lagos. The stadium also hosted another football tournament in 2004, which sadly turned out to be the last major sporting event held in the stadium. Day after day, attention slowly shifted from the stadium. Maintenance was jettisoned and the edifice began to fall apart. Decades down the line, the massive structure had degenerated, becoming a shadow of itself. Instead of international and national sports, it became a choice location for religious and social gatherings and a hideout for criminals. Despite many plans to revive the monument, nothing worked until a ray of hope shone with the coming of the immediate past Minister of Sport, Sunday Dare. In 2019, a concession arrangement with a philanthropist, Sir Adebotu Kensington, was initiated. True to the agreement, a few years later, 3 innovative critical components, a world-class football pitch, an international standard tartan tracks, and a modern digital scoreboard were handed over to the Sports Ministry.
This place looked almost impossible, and then we took on 3 components, 3 priority areas, enough to bring about 50% functionality. Our belief is that this place will open up. We will allow our local competitions.
The current Minister of Sport, John Ennon, recently visited the National Stadium, where he promised to toe the line of concession arrangements to fix facilities at the National Stadium, Surulere, Lagos.
That the processes towards the eventual concessioning of this facility is gone far. If that's what it's going to take to restore back the glory of this facility, I endorse it 100%.
Although progress has been made, sports enthusiasts believe that the 3 critical components innovated at the National Stadium are not enough to host any national or international sporting events, given the poor state of other facilities.
The problem now is ready to go. What are the maintenance? Because we don't have maintenance culture. Who maintains that place?
I will suggest that this concession of a thing is good, but what about the sitting area?
Exciting moments outside the National Stadium, but sadly it's been locked up for some years now. I don't know when it will get back to its usual bubbly state.
I expect that the current minister should take a very good look at this stadium, because it's almost like an abandoned stadium.
Now, the big question on the list of sports lovers is, will the iconic National Stadium Surulere, Lagos, ever return to its glory days? Well, time will tell.
And I pray it does, because the National Stadium in Surulere is a national monument. Now, this is where we'll end Newsline this Sunday. Thank you for watching. Keep a date with us Sunday next week. Good night, and God bless Nigeria.
NTA, you can't beat the reach.
There's love in the air after an audition tour